plan out my vegetable patch.
It is so lush. One of my grandmother's roses.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first gardening video of this season. When I tell you I have been buzzing to get back out into the garden. A few weeks ago I noticed the first of my bulbs starting to pop up and I have just been so excited ever since to begin this gardening season. Today is the day. Before we start, let's take a look at where we left off at the end of last growing season. We properly started our garden makeover project last year, slowly but surely taking the space from a paved parking lot pretty much to a lush cottage garden. That's the goal that we're going for here. We removed over half of the paving that was in here to create wider borders and later create a section of lawn with a smashed concrete path. We planted a lot of new perennials and evergreen shrubs and structural plants to create a base that would look nice year-round. We planted trees by the fence to create more privacy, and we created a little garden patch to grow a modest amount of food and herbs. We are definitely due a grass update. I'm fairly sure in the last gardening video I did last season, one of the last things I showed you was how we sowed a seed mixture in the brand new lawn area that we were trying to create. We're trying to remove as much tile out of our garden as possible, and this was just pretty much the last place where we could still do that. So we ended up sowing this organic local grass and herb, I guess, mixture that has different types of native grasses, different clovers, some flowers in there, I think. That grass has grown. Oh my gosh, it surprised us so much. Within a week it started growing. It is so lush. Just blowing in the wind. It has gotten so long. We haven't cut it at all yet. Oh my gosh, it came in so well. I haven't noticed any clovers yet or any of the wildflowers, but I think that might just be because those don't grow year round and they might start coming in when spring comes around. We also have a little bit of the grass right behind the shed there. Just wanted to give you a little update on this first. It looks so good and I couldn't be happier with it. Alright, time to get started. Now every project needs a plan, so let's begin by planning out my 2024 cottage garden. I'm going to be using Lilac for that. That's the perfect tool to organize any creative project. And since they are kindly sponsoring this video, allow me to tell you a little bit more about them as we get started. So here is my 2024 mood board for my garden project, and I love how it immediately gives a visual overview and sets the vibe, and it allows me to brainstorm the design, organize my ideas for this project. You can straight away see how Lilac allows you to collect images, notes, tasks, etc. all in one place. I like to have a mix of visuals, links, relevant information, and a to-do list in my board so that it really becomes the central hub of my project. So to create this board, I used the Lilac web clipper to gather images online that fit with the vibe that I'm going for in my garden. It's a browser extension that makes it super easy to save images from just all over the internet to your Lilac board. Whether you're a filmmaker, a writer, interior designer, or just a creative hobbyist, Lilac makes starting a new project easy with over 100 built-in templates that are available for every type of creative project. So for example, if you have any interior projects coming up, you can create mood boards, product lists, floor plans, all within Lilac, and organize everything nicely, which I love. When you are ready to share your work, you can invite others, such as colleagues or clients, to collaborate on your project, and you can then share feedback and notes right within the app. Lilac is available for free with no time limit. You can sign up using the link in the description box and get started on your next creative project right away. Let's take a closer look at my to-do list here. It's early spring right now, the growth season is just starting, and there are a few things I need to do to kick off this year's growth season. So first of all, that is to clear out all of last year's foliage. I like to leave everything in the garden after autumn ends. I don't do an autumn clear up. I like to leave all of the dead plants. First of all, they provide a little bit of winter interest, honestly, but also it's just really good for wildlife and for nature in general to leave those plants up as long as possible. So I always like to go in early spring and then remove all of my dead perennials. So it's time to go through the garden, remove everything that has died over the winter. I would then like to move the pots to their summer spots. I have a bunch of plants in pots that I moved over to our patio because the place where they are in summer gets no sunlight, like no direct sunlight at all throughout winter. And I think we're coming to a point now almost where I can put them back in their summer spots. We need to clean and treat all of the garden furniture. Move the parasol stand. I will tell you a little bit more about that when we're in the garden, but that's a big job for this year. I want to cut the grass for the first time because that needs to happen. Another big project and one of my dream projects is to plant a lilac bush. I want to go ahead and pre-sow some seeds indoors. And then the last thing on my early spring list is to fertilize the whole garden. And another thing that isn't on my to-do list, because I'm going to do it right now, is I want to plan out my vegetable patch. And I have a section for that in my board here. So here you can see what the patch currently looks like. There are a few plants that have stayed in there from last year. I'm going to be adding to those. So on the right I have a list of all of the fruit, veggies and herbs that I want to have in the garden. And this is pretty much the same as what I had last year. Fewer veggies. The eggplants that I planted last year didn't work. I think it just wasn't warm or sunny enough for them to ripen properly because they weren't good. Definitely not doing eggplants again. And what I think I'm gonna do in regards to that is just head to the garden center once they have all of the little vegetable plants out and just see what they have on offer and see if anything speaks to me. But what I definitely do want to add is cucumbers, because I loved those and they were amazing, and cherry tomatoes. Same story, they were incredible. Also Hungarian peppers, we'll get to those a little bit later in this video. As for the fruit, all of these plants are plants that are already in my garden, and my strawberries, they are on the very left here in the garden, and I need to do something to protect those from slugs, because last year nearly all of my strawberries were eaten by slugs. I was never able to get to them before the slugs did. So I need to either raise those, put them in a raised bed somehow, maybe try to protect them with some copper wire or something, but something needs to happen there. And then I have a bunch of herbs. I think these are mostly the herbs that I had last year, and once again I will probably just pop to the garden center, see what they have and see if there's anything that sparks my fancy there. But I think I want to pop those here around the front of the garden so that I can reach them quickly when I'm just running out of the kitchen. The mint and lemon balm are in separate pots. I don't plant those out in the garden, but all of the other ones are going to be in my little veggie patch. Oh, the thyme is in a pot as well, by the way. Also, when I'm planting my vegetables, I need to consider the fact that the cucumber grew a lot bigger than I expected initially. I feel like it needs some kind of trellis or something to climb up on, because it was just very, very long vines. Lots of production again, but it just grew much bigger than I expected, so that one needs more room for sure. So I think something like this should work.
Vegetable patch already looking much better. I realized I have many more strawberries than I planted last year, so I'm gonna have to cull that a little bit. This is just too much. That's my raspberry plant back there. Everything else I've taken out. I had my cucumbers over there, tomato plants. Out of the herbs, I'm not entirely sure which are perennial and which aren't, so which are gonna come back. I feel like my oregano might be growing back. This has completely grown back. all of a sudden I noticed this started popping back up again. My chives, which is wonderful. Not sure about the sage, but some of the leaves look to be alive still, so that might still come back. That back there is my goji berry, which seems to have grown some leaves. And then here I just cleared out a bunch of perennials. Once again, there are some strawberries here. The whole garden is filled with strawberries. I don't think it's my strawberries. There are some strawberries in the back of the garden that the previous owners planted years ago, and they have just been spreading all over. So I'm gonna try and pull some of those as well. Maybe if I do it now, it still has a chance of actually succeeding. So moving on to the next section of my clear out here. Bunch of weeds growing there that I just need to clear. I have some bulbs that are popping up here. So right over there, as well as back there, a bunch of bulbs. All the way in the back there are my irises. My pear tree is coming back to life, which is really, really exciting. I really hope this one grows a lot this year. That's a perennial I'm gonna cut back. My hydrangea had a bit of a tough time of it last year, so I'm just gonna see if there's any dead wood in there that I can just clear out, maybe thin that out a little bit because it's looking quite substantial. That one even worse, but that one for sure has a lot of dead wood, so I'm gonna go in there and just kind of thin that out a little bit. And yeah, just once again cut any perennials that are dead, just cut them back to the ground and we'll see what comes back and what doesn't. So exciting to see all of these little crocuses coming up. Oh, and this, by the way, is one of my grandmother's roses that I brought over from Slovakia last year. And I've just had it under this bottle as kind of like a greenhouse to protect it. But I think it actually established pretty well. It actually even flowered last season already, so I'm fairly sure that's gonna be all right. Need to take this planter out of here. All the planters, by the way, because there are gonna be plants growing back there. Yeah, plenty to do still. So I just popped to the garden center really quick to get myself a kneeling pad because the whole squatting and bending over thing isn't working anymore with the belly. Also got myself some seed trays, and I made an impulse purchase because I wasn't expecting. I also went to kind of do some reconnaissance and see if they had any plants in, and they had the David Austin Olivias in. I bought one of those last year and it's amazing, so I wanted to get more and they were sold out. So now that I saw that they had them in, I just couldn't not get it because it's so gorgeous. Yeah, it's a little one, same as this, but I'm sure it's gonna grow a lot, and it's already started growing, so I'm gonna have to get that into the ground. It's way above freezing, so that should be okay. But I also need to decide whether I want to put it here where I was originally planning to put it, or maybe there. Plan is eventually to have like a little almost hedge of roses here. I'm a bit worried if I put it there it might crowd out that hydrangea. I'll have to figure that out. Anyways, cleanup isn't quite done yet. I still have a bit to do back here. This was all covered in strawberry. I cleared most of this out yesterday, but you can see there are still some strawberries here and there. And then back here I haven't gotten to at all yet. So we have more strawberries just taking over here, and some of my bulbs are coming up, which is really exciting. Even back here. Although I must say this whole area is something I'm still struggling with. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that. Last year I had that wildflower seed mixture in here, which was fantastic, but it also looked a little unkempt and weedy. I don't necessarily mind, but I think I could come up with something nicer to do with this area. Waiting for my clematis to grow back, which already seems to be sprouting a little as well. These, I didn't plant those, but I love them, so obviously I'm keeping those. I have my buddleia back there since last year. Quite bare back here. I believe there are like maybe 2 or 3 perennials back here that will pop back up. But other than that, yeah, I feel like I need some kind of ground cover here just to neaten things out a bit. And there is some space here for maybe a bigger plant, so we'll have to figure that out. Oh, this, by the way, oh my gosh, guys. When we moved in here, this was one bare twig with 2 dead leaves on it. And I was this close to taking it out, but I decided to give it another chance. Last year it grew a lot of leaves, and then I noticed in the fall that it started growing buds. And now they have started to open and it is just glorious. I'm fairly sure this is a camellia and it is just stunning, and I'm so happy that it picked back up. And if this grows nice and big, I'd be very, very glad, because once again, this is a very bare area in the garden. Also, that area, I still need to clear that out. We have these that have been here since, since we moved in. I don't like these, but I can't manage to get rid of them. They are very persistent. They grow back twice a year, no matter what I do. They grow really nasty fruit as well. Flowers looks more like fruit that I'm very much not happy with. And I would very much like to get rid of these and have something else growing here. Also, this area I've tried to plant grass, but it hasn't really taken. I think there's just not enough sunlight here. So I'm thinking I have some some crawling thyme seeds, and I think I'm gonna pre-sow those inside and then transplant those and see if that catches on here, because I think that would be lovely. And then another big thing that we want to do is to move this parasol stand over here, because this is where our seating area is, and the parasol over here just about doesn't reach. Well, it reaches only in the morning. So the shade only falls here in the morning, and then in the afternoon it's basically, it's sunny in here, and then there's shade like there, which is pointless. So I would very much love to move this here so that we have it's more centralized, so we just have shade in the area where we actually require it. But the thing is, this was here when we got here again, and I am not sure how this is attached to the ground, and I'm a bit worried that it is sunk in concrete and there's no way we will ever get it off, which would be sad, because in this spot is where I would love to plant the lilac bush, just exactly right here, because then when you look from the patio, like the seating area, here we have the garage and then this wall of ivy, which is lovely and green, but there's not much going on here, and I would love to have something that's a little bit higher and also something that blooms, obviously, and a lilac is just stunning. So I would love to get a lilac just right there. I think that would be wonderful. So I'm gonna have to figure out what the deal is with that situation. Hopefully we can move it over here. That would just be perfect. I did also more or less clear out these pots yesterday. This year I think I would love to fill these with just annuals, but it's a bit too early for those. I checked at the garden center, they have some violas, but yeah, I think I need to wait a bit longer to do that. Maybe I could actually just fill this area with annuals as well. Could be a fun little change. I could do something different every year. Once these finish blooming, like all the bulbs, I'm planning to put some annuals on top there as well, like for mid and late summer. But yeah, viburnum is coming back to life. I can't wait to let this grow bigger this year as well. There are just many plants that I planted last year that I'm hoping will mature this year and just fill up a bit more space. I need to watch out that I don't buy too many plants and try and fill everything too quickly, because most of the perennials that I've planted last year will grow much bigger still, so I have to be patient. Have to be a bit more patient. Although one thing I would love to get in here, because I feel like that's really missing from my cottage garden, is lamb's ear. I think that will go wonderfully with my color scheme and also just be a really nice plant to have here. So maybe if I come across some lamb's ear at the garden center at some point, I will take some of that. For now, I think let's just finish the cleanup, the clear out, and we'll go from there. Also, they had lilacs at the garden center, and if I had had a cart instead of a basket, I probably would have impulse purchased that as well, because I have zero chill. I missed lilac season last year. Like, by the time I decided I wanted one, they had already bloomed and they were sold out. Lilacs bloom pretty early in the season, so you have to get on top of that like fairly soon. It's still February when I'm filming this, but I just really want a lilac. Let's at least wait until I have my clear up done and we know what the deal is with that umbrella stand, and then I can go ahead. They had plenty of them. I'm sure they won't sell out of the lilacs before I've been able to make space for it. They were such a good price as well. I've been looking online. I'm still debating whether I want to get a really tall one just to fill up the space straight away, or buy a smaller, cheaper one and just let it grow and be patient. They had like fairly decent size. I think they were about a meter, maybe even more in height, for 20 euros. and gorgeous buds on them as well already. They just look really good. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pick up one of those because I've been looking online and there are so many cultivars and they're all gorgeous. If I'm completely honest, I don't really care beyond I just want a purple or lilac one. So yeah, the ones at the garden center were a beautiful lilac. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pick up that one because 20 euros is a really good price. I'm gonna try cutting the grass by hand. Just really curious to see what will happen and what it will look like once it's cut. So let's give it a try. Okay, so I only managed to do about this much. Maybe this is not an 8 months pregnant activity, or not today at least. I think I need to go rest. I bought some seed trays and I really need to go ahead and plant some seeds. I have had a bunch of seeds for a while now, and many of these I should actually have planted just out in the garden in autumn, but with the pregnancy and then getting COVID and everything, there just wasn't the right time. So I hope that if I pre-sow them in these little seed trays now and then transplant like a little plant into the garden in a few weeks, they may survive and it may work. Most of these are perennials, so they should just re-sow themselves at the right time and then hopefully come back next year. First of all, wild garlic, and this is the one I'm worried about most because this is gonna actually grow very soon out of the ground just in the wild. But again, if I pre-sow it inside and it's really nice and warm and moist, maybe it can get a head start and I can get it out into the garden just in time. This is the thyme that I want to plant. This is wild thyme, tea that I know from Slovakia. It grows in the mountains there. I absolutely love it. It's not native to the Netherlands, and I hope I'm not ruining the ecosystem by planting it here, but this to me is ultimate childhood nostalgia. The smell of this, these flowers, tea made out of this, oh my gosh. Yeah, I would love to get some of this out into that patch in the back of the garden, and since this grows in forests, I'm fairly sure it does well in the shade, so I want to plant some of that. Then I have some moneywort here, which once again I'm fairly sure I should have planted in the autumn. And then the last thing I have here is once again something I completely neglected. This is a Hungarian spicy pepper, completely dried down, and I am very lucky that it dried out and didn't just start rotting. Yeah, I should have removed the seeds from this months ago. I brought this over again from Slovakia in the summer, had it ripen on the windowsill and everything, and then left it because, again, same reasons. I just never found the time to take the seeds out and dry those individually. I am hopeful that since the pepper has completely dried out, the seeds inside have also dried and they will take well to sprouting, and if not, I'll just try again next year. But yeah, I absolutely love these peppers. You cannot buy them in the Netherlands, like at all. They just don't exist over here. Normally they're about this big, green, like a long skinny pepper, and spicy and just delicious. Aside from this one pepper from the market, I also actually brought over a plant for these last year over from Slovakia and planted that out in my garden. It was doing great. It even had some fruit on there. Then I had the first trimester sickness, couldn't get out of bed. When I came back into the garden, the whole plant was gone. Just gone. There was one stalk just in the center. Some animal came and ate it. The leaves were gone, the little baby peppers were gone. It was just completely eaten off. So I'm gonna sow a bunch of these. Something here apparently likes it. I think now is the time to extract the seeds from this, see what happened, see if I can make this work, and try to get all of those 4 plants into little trays, and then hopefully in a couple weeks I can pop them in the garden. It's been really nice and warm these past few days, so I'm hopeful. It's the end of February now, and I think March is a good time to do that, so Yeah, let's get to it. They are moldy. I got 3 seeds, so chances are this won't work, but that's okay. I'll just try again next summer. So yeah, I am gonna go ahead and plant those 3 little seeds. Who knows? Who knows? Something might sprout. And then I'll just plant these then. Maybe now is also a good time to put away the Christmas lights. Already, we have cleared out all of last year's foliage. I can check that one off. I kind of cut the grass. I need to finish that job at a later point. We sowed the seeds, we did the fertilizer. The lilac bush, I have the lilac bush picked out. We just need to plant it, but again, parasol comes first. I haven't moved the pots yet because I realized the sun isn't quite right just yet. And I fear if I move them already, they just won't get enough light. So I'm gonna wait a few more weeks to do that. And then cleaning and treating the garden furniture and moving the parasol stand. I think I'm gonna have my husband do those things this year, just because I am very, very pregnant. I will update you on those in the next garden update video, because I definitely plan on doing more. I don't know, this gardening content, it's so different from what I usually do. Sorry if it's not your thing, but I just enjoy doing this so much. It's one of my favorite things to film. But yeah, I already feel like we made a lot of progress in the garden. When I look outside now, it looks so good. It just looks fresh and ready for spring and new growth season. I cannot wait to see what will pop out of those bulbs. I've kind of forgotten what I planted last year, so it's gonna be really exciting to see what pops up where, and also to see how my trees mature and all of the other plants that I planted last year. It's just, oh, it's gonna be so good, I can't wait. So yes, I will definitely update you once everything's in bloom, or some things are in bloom. But for now, I'm gonna end this video here because I feel like it is a hefty one. So thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to be updated on the state of my garden and all the other things that I'm up to. There is another video here that I think you might also enjoy. You can go watch next. Thank you so much for your support, guys, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!